Helicopter hovers over Hyde Park. 747 cruises beneath the sharp half moon as I saunter past the buzz and hum of Speaker's Corner. Wrestling with the stiff breeze buzz, there's something in the air tonight. The throng at Marble Arch, eager and set, hang on every word relayed through the struggling PA. Prayers of hope and calls to peaceful disobedience. A small child takes the microphone. Something she's written today, sweet and hopeful, angry and alive. Crescendo, triggering a roar of approval. Her face taken aback, but clearly proud in the bonfire's glow. Some have brought candles in jars, LEDs hang from flagpoles, and a few bold torches ablaze and thrust aloft. There is rebellion in the air tonight. This feels like a moment, something real and pure and strong, a pin stuck in a slow revolving globe, a force to be breathed in and held, a song of hope that could awake the globe. There is a determination in the air tonight. This moment is the only moment, and it is a moment to believe. Thank you. Welcome. My name's Grae. I'm here to do a few poems for you. That was called In the Air. I hope you're enjoying the festival. Lovely to be here and joining you for this. Lovely to be asked. I'm going to carry on with another one. It's going to be it's very casual, informal. So take a seat anywhere you want. Join me if you need to go off and get a beer at some point during the set, or a cola, or a coffee, or whatever. That's fine. You just relax, be yourselves. This is called One Simple Day. It's a cortado at Charlie's, sunshine on a summer's day, the sound of Martha Reeves and the Vandellas. It's like a heat wave. It's the kiss you didn't expect, the smile that melts your heart, the moment that an ending becomes a brand new start. It's the CD in the mail you forgot you'd even ordered, the selfless act of kindness, the plane that has been boarded, the flight to new adventure, the culture to explore, the silence in the gallery, the painting on the wall, the vista from the balcony, the river's ebb and flow. It's knowing when to speak out and knowing when to go. It's the solitary vino beneath the railway arch, the warmth of meditation and the changing of the path. It's peppermint and chamomile, it's sandalwood and sage, the cat that sits upon you, the turning of the page. It's a day that has been lived, it's a peace within the night, it's the closing of a chapter, like turning off the light. It's the whistling of the wind outside, the coolness of the sheets. It's exhaling oh so gently as you slowly fall asleep. Thanks. One simple day. Okay, this next one, it's a thing called Don't Die in the Waiting Room of the Future. This was inspired by, I was reading a book about the punk rock scene in East Germany, and especially in East Berlin at the time before the wall came down. And it was a really interesting read. I connected with parts of it seemed very similar to how I was living over here, but other parts very, very different. There was I really loved this this phrase though that was graffitied on walls, written on T-shirts, which was "Don't die in the waiting room of the future." Kind of resonated. So anyway, that's what this poem is called. Don't die in the waiting room of the future. Cassette to cassette we can break out of the suburbs, hiss and buzz these poems and make them real. In musty church halls and squatted blocks, bohemian readings and transistor radios, smudged photocopies of vacant eyes, sex and scandal, truth and lies. Make your brutal noise, make it louder until I shudder and scream, and we know that our truth will not be rewritten, subverted or stolen, and tonight we'll sleep in the park under the stars. Some days my limbs don't work so well. They just feel shaky and disconnected. I'm watching CNN again and I'm not sure that's helping. I need to reconnect with those white label bleeps and the angry kid with the lack of sleep, breathing in the smell of campfires and spilt cider, spray paint cans and lighter fluid. We are connected and we are lost, but we will not break when you ban our words and cast us into the streets. We'll burn these slogans onto motorway bridges and tear down your corporate hoardings with love and loathing, for we were born of the blank generation, piercing our flesh with button badge pins whilst sowing the seeds of this dissonant culture. And still to this day we will smile in defiance and say, don't die in the waiting room of the future. Thanks. Okay. December 20th, 2015. I'm sitting here as it gets dark outside, listening to Dan Byrne, reading Bukowski, mint and spice tea, cool menthol vaping. My mind goes back to that little restaurant in Mexico City with the wrestling masks that lined the walls, and the old luchador, proud and cheery, every morning when I sat for eggs and coffee. There have been 2 stabbings in town this year. The second was a kid, well known and well liked. The railings there hung heavy with rain-soaked bouquets and little messages in plastic bags. The first was less reported, and I'm not sure whether he lived. Apparently it happened just outside the Beehive, but the guy made it all the way down London Road to the petrol station, where the kiosk attendant called for an ambulance. Ros said that the next day, when she came to open up the farmer's boy, she saw the trail of blood still on the pavement running all the way down the hill. I never told the Mexican wrestler about the pain I was feeling at the time. Just smiled and thanked him each day, while the poor men around the town hall stood high and tied on crucifixes in protest at the laws that were bleeding them dry, as mariachi bands buzzed by in broken down old Beatles on their way to birthday parties and funerals. I never saw any more in the papers about that first stabbing. No word of who he was or what it was all about. Next week's Christmas, and I wonder if he'll be somewhere, smiling with his family and celebrating with friends, glad to be alive. And I wonder if the old luchador will still be there, serving eggs and coffee. I hope so. Okay, the shop. Imagine, if you will, and if you won't, fair enough, a shop that don't sell anything but gives away its stuff. Food to them who are hungry, clothes to those that spare, an equal slice of pie to them what didn't get their share, some books to do some learning in a college that is free, a ticket for your transport to get from A to B. If you take a tumble or if you're feeling ill, just take these medications, these bandages and pills, all the things that's needed and sometimes even more, available for nothing in the caring, sharing store. There's love and understanding, an ear for when you're down. Sometimes there'll be a party with invites for the town. A simple proposition, just giving stuff for naught. 'Twould be a store worth working for. Now there's a funny thought. Okay, 2 train poems. I like long train journeys, and this first poem is kind of a cautionary tale, and the second one is a little bit more positive, I think. So this is just called A Man Sits on a Train. A man sits on a train, waiting or at least hoping for an email. He stares at the laptop that sits atop his lap with unwavering concentration. As the train pulls out of the city, the morning sky is shot with scarlet shards on aquamarine. The countryside flies by in beauteous early summer shades, pigeons and foxes and sleepy thatched hamlets. After a while, the train slows, and through the picket fences beyond platform A, the man's childhood friends can be seen, jumping from swings and onto the roundabout, joyous in holiday freedom. If only he could avert his eyes, and then, gone. On through Milltown, o'er tall Gothic bridges, steeples and black glass tower blocks, to red brick leafy suburbs, corner pubs and smoking chimneys, faded metal hoardings and avenues prim. Further down the line, the train slows again, and on the greenwood bench across the track sits the woman loved and lost, alone and smiling, sweet as honey, eyes closed in warm meditation. Just a call away, but the man remains silent, transfixed and determined. The train meanders through mountains of grandeur, past star-sparkle rivers and fairy tale forests, shoreline glen and tunnels of steam that all remain unseen. When the train slows again, the man's mother looks out through the waiting room window, a pale and all-loving dewy-eyed angel. who waves in sweet resignation at her son who sits on the train. Evening bows to night as the train rumbles on, streetlight reflected on the shower-fresh streets. The moon makes silhouette of distant woods and cooling towers, till dark clouds extinguish its gaze. Eventually, the train grinds towards its halt, and as it does, suddenly, there in the inbox, bing! Double-clicked, his eyes eagerly scan the message, which simply reads, "You have reached your destination." There we go. That's a man sitting on the train. Cautionary tale. So let's do. This is the second train poem for you. This is called "Breathe." This is quite an old one now, and written about a genuine train journey between Paris and Catalonia. I was on my way to do some shows down there with my friend Marty, and this is a poem called "Breathe." A minor blip, a small setback, a little shake where a shake shouldn't be. Did anyone see? And breathe. The train travels relentlessly towards the Spanish border. It's dark outside and I've slept for a few hours. Take a photograph through the window. No idea where we are, but as good a place as any to freeze a moment. Intermittently, we speed through a sleeping station, ochre shadows and lamplit stairs. For a second there, the silhouettes of houses. Perhaps in one sits a man who cannot sleep, the only sound to break his silent contemplation being the muffled thunder of the occasional night train. After some while, hairline cracks of red on the horizon begin to break the black. Vague outline clouds and ghost trees, fences, fields, graffiti on a bus shelter. As grey turns to brown and yellow to green, the blur past stations now possess occasional familiarity, as stations often do, kindly and reminiscent of past adventure. The train slows as it crosses the border. Little changes outside except the signage, but sleepy-eyed within our carriage, a sense of quiet contentment awakes, a new day in a new land. I alight at Portboo and watch as the train pulls onwards, stretch and smile at the cat outside the cafeteria door, blink up at the church and the blue-grey vista of rolling Catalonia. 45 minutes until the train to Figueres. Time for a coffee. I rummage for my notebook and pen and turn to a fresh page. I place the pen in readiness beside the book, sit back and breathe. So here's a poem written from lockdown, and this is a thing called The New Normal. Stand back for a moment, close your eyes, take a breath. We're at a crossroads. The world has taken an unexpected pause, and never have we had such opportunity to begin a brand new normal. Look through your window at the clear blue sky. Step outside and inhale an air untainted by traffic and industry. Listen to the birds chorus their approval and smile at the impulsive caring we now afford each other. Does that old normal of fossil fuels and plastic seas hold any sense of warm nostalgia? Do you long for the fight and clamour of eternal economic growth, GDP at any cost, continents on fire, floods and feuds, flags and broken promises, gated territories and hate speech, fleeing hordes from war-torn worlds, washed up on beaches whilst we turn the page to more of the same? We have taken the homeless from our streets and housed them. We have offered help to those in need, looking out for our neighbours both at home and overseas. We have recognised the fundamental importance of those that care for others, for the future of our children and the well-being of our elders. That a society can be measured on its empathy and love, and when bold solutions are required to face down global threats, we are able to come together as one planet and say, enough is enough, you will not defeat us. Have we learnt these things? Have we really changed? What will be the new normal? Are we brave enough to take this moment and let it live? Thank you. And okay, this is a thing that's just called 1982. I kind of miss those days, Paris discotheques and cigarettes, 12-inch coloured vinyl fix, just riding the crest of a brave new wave. Suburban cavaliers on a mission to shock and thrill in equal measure. A belted army raincoat and a slouch hat, gentlemen's Polaroids and cool menthol. Dogs on street corners, slick and sly, whistling through the graveyard on a hot summer night. All doo-wop highs and cheap perfume. A manifesto hewn from hours of poring over insert words. Rebellion brewing in garden cities, graffiti on your gated walls, scaring the commuters as we fall off the milk train. Sleep by day and prowl by night, the revolution is coming in an old post office van to a town near you. Get on board, clear the way, the blank generation are here to stay. Okay. So this guy comes up to us after the show and he's like, you guys are cool, I dig that anti-folk sound, so lo-fi, DIY. And I'm like, man, we're so beyond that, we're anti-folk. No-fi, DI Joe, we gotta go solo. Anti-folk was last year, baby. This is now, get with the scene. I could sense his consternation. He pondered, then he spoke. But wouldn't anti-folk just be folk? Some people. Okay, a little bit of beat walking blues here. Let's give this a try. Sam Cooke in the Philly Cafe, you send me, perfect. I'm singing along, just low and croony, smiling and silly. You like this song, asks the barista. It's obvious she does. I love this song, says I. There's life in a nutshell, right there. Cindy Sherman at the Portrait Gallery was cool, without a doubt. Hipper than hip, all Bowery glitz, subverted vogue. I bet Madonna loves her. If I meet her, I'll ask her. Though Cindy loves Elvis Costello, naturally. I should do more portraits, capture more eyes. I'll start tomorrow. I stop off at Foyle's. I need a fix of Baudelaire. There's too much choice, but eventually I hit on one that I don't think I have at home. The cashier squeals, ooh, Baudelaire! You like Baudelaire, I ask? I do, says she. I'm on a roll. There's a band playing at Oxford Circus. The Street Cats, running through another brick in the wall. The tourists love it, the irony isn't lost. Oxford Circus has died, the surrounding streets now devoid of any glamour, commercially sealed in a sanitised corporate bubble, impotent and ugly, Starbucks and the United Colours of Benetton, dead. The photographer's gallery is buzzing though. The Manuel Alvarez Bravo prints are sweet for sure, like stills from a Buñuel movie, just a kid with a camera and a city to explore. He hung with Frida and Diego, haunted the streets, wild and untamed, searching until somewhere there he caught a glimpse of his reflection. Sweet. I wonder if he made enough while he was living. I hope so. The Euston Tap is a fine place to stop. A Munchenheller's beer for watching the world. It reminds me of the Low Stars, and I raise a silent toast to the lost boys and the living. Man, my feet ache now.